I was mostly engineering management, product management. And so I made a conscious decision to go become an entrepreneur, etc. And I'm, back to being both. Vaibhav, on the other hand, has been an entrepreneur, a serial entrepreneur, a very successful one before that. So I wanted to know from you, how has your entrepreneurial journey prepared you for what you're doing now? Can you go back a little and say, this is what I did, and this was the key learning, and this is something that has been coming in very handy now. In the context of how you built your businesses, what did you do? What were some of the challenges, etc. A pretty loaded question, but that helps us also to get back in time and understand more about his businesses, his ventures, and his entrepreneurial ventures, especially.
Right. So I think I'm just going to answer it very broadly, so we can cover and you can ask me other questions as well. But I don't think growing up I thought I'm going to be an entrepreneur or something like that. I don't think at COEP I thought anything like that. I think Berkeley, like I said, was a very eye-opening experience, and but I was still not thinking that I want to do something of my own. I was still kind of in the grad school bubble at that time. But I think it helped to understand that you want to do something that you're truly going to enjoy. And I was doing mechanical engineering. My first summer at Berkeley, I got an internship at Parametric Technology, which at that time was kind of the company to work for in CAD/CAM space. I spent the summer there in Boston, and I just hated it, right? Absolutely hated it. And I said, okay, I can do anything but not this, right? And then I went back to Berkeley, completed my third semester and my fourth semester as interviewing. So I think it was a very broad exploration of what am I going to do. So I interviewed with investment banks and the McKinseys of the world and things like that, knowing very well that a master's student in the US has very little chance to get in, because they're looking for either MBAs or they're looking for bachelors who can be trained. They don't, students learn a little bit too much for them to make them unlearn, right? And I think I failed I would say I failed in getting a job at a McKinsey or a Goldman. I think I went second round, third round, something like that. It's a pretty intensive process. But I think in that whole process, you basically say, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do this. And then I took up a first job. I was working at this company called i2 Technologies, very successful in their own space, a large growing company. I spent about a year there. And I realized at the end of the year, right? And going back to Berkeley, where I was constantly thinking, is this for me, right? At the end of the first year, I realized that I don't see myself working at a big company, right? So the next 6 months, I think I said...
Why was it? What happened to...
So with all due respect to people who work at big companies, or have worked at big companies, if I were to say one thing, right? I just felt that there's a lot of bullshit going on in a corporate job where you're not efficient, right? If you're running a startup, I mean, you have revenue pressure. You can't do something just for the sake of doing it, right? And I thought I was just doing a lot of that. I had other people who were doing a lot of that, and to do that and to be successful at it, you had to be politically correct, which means again you don't want to speak the truth, and it's just not something that I gelled with my personality. I'm a true Scorpion, right? I can't twist words, right? So I think it's a combination of all those things where I felt, what am I doing, or where do I see myself? And that just didn't happen. So the next 6 months I joined a startup called Choreo, which was an early stage ASP in the Bay Area. A lot of people out of Oracle. And there I think those 6 months were all about exploring a new thing that I want to do and go on my own. So I think that is how I started my first company. I think I ended up with two options where I had an idea that could have gotten an investment, but I had to build a team around it that I was looking for. And on the other hand, I had this opportunity to team up with about 4 others, 2 of whom who had done a company before, and then start a company where there was a pretty good fit between all of us. So I ended up doing the latter. And I want to say about the first point where coming, and I think many people who are starting the first time, finding co-founders is very difficult, right? For me that time, in our batch, a lot of people, especially the mechanical folks who were working in other auto companies and things like that. So the network 2 years in the US was very little, right? So to find a co-founder who you can actually take on this journey becomes very, very difficult. So I think one of the advice I would have for anybody who's looking out is always kind of, even if you're running a company yourself right now, it is always important to find people that you can work with, find people who you can start your next business with and things like that, because that's very critical. So that's definitely one of the learnings I think I had from that. I don't know if this is a long answer, so interrupt me.
No, well, I'll interrupt. But so this company that you started first, what was it? And
so it was a company called Roamware. 5 of us started it together. We basically sold software to mobile carriers worldwide.
And when was this? Which year?
This was the worst year, 2000. Right, so I think we started just before the crash. And I remember 4th of July 2000, the long weekend, all of us were sitting around the conference table thinking how much runway we had. And obviously there are two of the founders who had run a company before and had a decent exit. They had a little bit of a bank balance that we said we'll figure something out. And we eventually did. And I think there's a lot that I learned from that company that I want to focus on. I think number one, I actually grew up as a pretty introverted person, right? Not terribly, so I was confident, but I just wouldn't go out and talk to people. I don't think I was shy, but just not interested or didn't have that flair to talk, I think, right? And I think Roamware was a place where, it's like you throw yourself in the water and don't know how to swim. I was actually selling. So we were traveling to mobile carriers worldwide, from Jamaica to Spice Telecom in India to all over Europe and Hong Kong and things like that. And we had to pitch because, all of us were selling. Everybody has to sell in a startup, right? So I think that was a great learning experience for me, coming from, your Berkeley and Silicon Valley experience. You think everything is PowerPoints and I have this great pitch, and then you suddenly get into a sales meeting and you're torn apart. And you're an introverted person and then you're figuring out everything on the fly. So I think those 2-3 years of selling were very important, which I think is very essential for an entrepreneur, that you must be able to sell very well, right? And so what I would advise to anybody is who is not sold is put yourself in that situation. If you are running your own company, set yourself new targets. If you're selling locally, go sell globally. Figure that out, because I think selling is just going to expand your ability to build a larger business.
You mentioned some time ago as well, 3 of your current companies are more in the sales, marketing, etc. domain. And starting from a very self-confessed, introverted Scorpio, it's a pretty long leap, I would say, to go sell, be prepared for a lot of rejection, overcome your fear of rejection, etc. You are humbled many times. Selling is probably one of the most humbling experiences as part of an entrepreneur. So, any experiences? How did you prepare for that? Any thing that you can share? Because that's a pretty long lead. And then this point cannot be emphasized more, because we also routinely come across people, especially with techie businesses, where people come with great ideas, great capabilities, etc., but they somehow don't want to sell. There is this anything else people, entrepreneurs are okay with, but going out and selling is a big wall for people. And so